Yeah, chaps, I've got Martin. Martin, we started chatting on Instagram. When it was Instagram.
It was actually Facebook Messenger. When I first saw you, I was just having a Google, and I came across the Manup charity through there.
Well, there you go. So happy days. But the thing is, mate, is you come across. Let me rephrase it. Our message is about basically get off your ass.
Mm.
And I don't want to sound harsh or dramatic, but actually, when we get messages where like, oh, I don't want to try that, I don't want to try this, I don't want to do that. Well, actually, you might as well, because if you're having a bit of a mental health wobble, what you're doing at the moment isn't working. And I'm not saying like everyone should like try something massively extreme. Like the other week, 2 weeks ago, I decided, because my anxiety was going mental, like social anxiety, I decided just to jump on Eurostar and go to Brussels for 4 days on my own.
Okay.
Going to like, obviously, I guess some people go, that's way too extreme. I'm not suggesting people do that. But like, I don't know, like I sometimes help out with soup kitchens. Obviously, I do a lot of charity work because I bloody well run one. But you kind of hit a few nerves yourself, because you've had a bit of a wobble yourself, is that right? Or tell us about yourself. I should start. Sorry, mate.
That's it. So yeah, with me, it was sort of growing up was always, I think for anyone's school and the school environment can be quite tricky at times. So compared to most people, maybe I've definitely kind of gone into volunteering and getting myself out there from quite a young age, and it's really quite interesting in how that at times where I might kind of have a wobble, or kind of in business life or just normal day-to-day life, where you just sort of feel I don't want to get up and I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay in bed, or you sort of reminisce about the past, or something you might have done, or an event that might have gone on, and you're trying to piece everything together, and ultimately that doesn't really do any good. You can think about it, but you can't change the past or anything that's gone on. So for me, it's very much volunteering has always been a good kind of driver for me. I might not want to do volunteering all the time, but it's something that you can get into quite easily without too much of a commitment. So if you're just having a bit of a low day or something, you can just have a look on any local Facebook groups, or your local church, or your local wildlife reserve, or your local canal, or wherever it might be, and just see if there's any volunteer work parties going on, or anywhere you can just help out. It sounds quite basic, but it just gets you outside for a day. It gets you talking to people who might also be in a similar situation or position in yourself, and or they might have even better, they've been in that situation or position in the past, and they're able to kind of talk you through it, or offer guidance or advice. It doesn't have to be anything too deep, even just wondering what you're going to have for dinner that evening. Yeah. It can be a whole broad range of subjects, but it just gets you out there talking to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does it help you yourself?
I think for me, it's sometimes you can doubt your own abilities, or you can doubt. You can ask your question: is it good enough, or why am I doing whatever I'm doing, whether that's kind of a job or work or anything along those lines. But I think with volunteering, it's quite basic. It's fundamentally if volunteering, there's no paid incentive for it. The only result you get out of volunteering, if that's on a local nature reserve, it's just the time and effort you put into it yourself and the result. So it takes away that whole concept of money, or being paid for a job, or doing something because you don't like it. You're normally doing an activity you really enjoy, so you just kind of get the positive benefits from that, and kind of knowing you've completed a task because you've actually wanted to complete a task, and not you've been told or forced to complete a task.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There is something nice about, I don't know, when someone just says thank you, not a boss, like you say, not a boss, but somebody who just really needs your help. There is something just nice of them just saying thank you so much for that, isn't it? And I do say, I can speak for a few charities. I'm part of this one, but I'm also a trustee of another charity, and I've got my fingers in a few charity pies. I would say the
Yes.
one thing more than money is time.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the one. Sorry, I didn't finish the sentence there, so I do apologise. But
Oh, other way.
yeah, no, but it is so, isn't it? But it's just everyone jumps about. Oh, do you want some money? Do you want some money? And I think right now, actually, they don't really want money. What they want is time, because with fuel, cost of living, that they are gagging for volunteers. And do you know what? If the double whammy is, it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside because you feel like you got a purpose.
Absolutely. I think that you've hit the nail on the head there, Dan. Yeah, it's sort of, you've got a purpose, and you're giving back, and you're doing something beneficial.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That. So can I ask you one thing though? And I don't want to
Far away.
I don't want to sound like a dick, but I know that with me sometimes I volunteer because I wanna shut off and brush away a problem. But when I go home, I still have to deal with it.
Yes.
You see where I'm going with that one? Do you get that, or is that just me?
Absolutely no. That's something I think everyone can suffer with at times. I think with if you're going through a moment or going through a stage, I'm definitely no medical expert on this side of things, just speaking from my personal experience. But I think if there's kind of a time of hardship, or you experience, or you go through something, or I don't know, you might just get fired, or you might lose a job. Obviously, you need money to keep a roof over your head, but it's sometimes in that kind of initial moment, you can go through a whole range of emotions. It can be a real roller coaster ride. So just kind of being able to, just for a short term or long term, just set yourself a target, or kind of a volunteering project, so it gives you time to just focus on something. And if you do at a later date have to readdress the issue, or the initial problem, you might be in a better frame of mind, definitely for myself personally, kind of a better frame of mind to readdress things, or look back at things with a more kind of a hindsight approach, rather than the initial emotion and thinking. You sometimes can be thinking irrationally, so it sort of buys you a bit of time, and allows you to think of a more appropriate manner. And also through volunteering as well, if you want to discuss, normally people are quite chatty. If you wanted to discuss what you're going through with the other volunteers, you might be able to get to see things from a different perspective as well.
Yeah. So can I ask, are any of those charities, whatever you volunteer, are they mental health groups, or are they just normal group?
No, not mental health charities, so to say. So one's along local nature reserves, local litter picking groups, or local nature reserve groups. It's merely more kind of a case of, for myself, if I have a wobble or a moment, it's just quite good for myself, is to sort of put myself outside, away from nature, cut myself off from the mobile phone and everything, and just kind of enjoy the moment of just cutting down some trees and fishing some litter out of the local canal.
Well, it's a brain fart reset, isn't it?
Absolutely. It gives you some time, gives you a bit of time to reset, and enjoy the moment of being outside in nature.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I'll tell you, just the context of that question really.
Yeah, far away.
I do find when people say, like, "Oh, get off you," especially if someone's having a wobble, like, I don't know, depression. It doesn't really matter what it is. The automatically thing is to look for other mental health groups.
Yes.
And actually, you don't have to do that, because I do find maybe it's because the bed I've made. If I go to somebody else's group, which is very rare, I'm very much a recluse. If I go to another mental health group, I end up taking on their mental health problems.
I understand. Yes, it can be sometimes, and as not in a bad way. Obviously, mental health groups are good for kind of people to share their experiences.
Yeah.
It can be at times that if you're surrounded by people and their issues that they might be facing as well. You can you can find yourself helmed in by just hearing about problems. It's quite nice just to, or for myself, is to sort of go outside and just kind of immerse yourself in a little bit of positivity or productiveness in kind of an outside practical task. I find that a great help and kind of a great motivator or booster to kind of continue onwards and something to look forward to.
Yeah, and it also looks fantastic on the CV.
Absolutely. Oh, looks good on the CV. It shows kind of determination, that drive, and also kind of that you've it shows initiative as well, that you've taken the initiative and put yourself out there. Obviously, if you've done volunteering or there's bigger problem or more kind of mental health issues, then obviously you speak to a professional or an advisor. But just for kind of a time being or for a day-to-day thing, definitely volunteering helps a great deal.
Absolutely. So just before we draw to a close, sorry, someone just keeps catching my eye, but I've realised there's a van what keeps driving back and forward thing. But so
okay.
Yeah, so you know, so it just catches your vision. You're like, what am I being robbed?
Am I seeing something? Am I imagining something?
No, exactly.
That's it. Who knows?
Yeah. But so I'm only presuming on this, so I don't know all your ins and outs. But
yeah.
with me, maybe it's because of BPD, because I'm borderline personality, high functioning. There are some days where I have to fight to get myself out of the house.
Yes.
Literally, it's hard to explain. I have to literally fight with my own head to get out. How do you? I'm not saying you do have that. I'm only presuming. If you have shit days. How do you get yourself out of bed or out of the house or whatever?
When I've had bad days and kind of hard days and sort of kind of getting yourself out of bed, it can be it's definitely hard and can be very hard at times. Sometimes you just want to kind of shut yourself away and roll yourself up in a blanket and just whether that's cry or order food on Uber Eats or whatever it might be. I find with those days, that's, for me personally, I always kind of like to have at least something going, on, or to kind of just set myself an objective to get myself out of bed, or to actually have a purpose. I always try and have a purpose for every day. Every day I get out of bed, I try and do at least one thing that will benefit the next day, or an improvement on something I've done the day before. So that's my approach with things. So that could kind of just be scheduling, helping in a soup kitchen or the local food bank at 3 o'clock that afternoon. You might not have much to do from when you wake up at 6 o'clock till 3 o'clock, but come 3 o'clock, you've got something to do, something to look forward to. So it is hard to get yourself out of bed and get yourself there, but you've got a purpose and you've got something to do. So that can really help.
Totally not agree with you, my friend. We've flown through that, but I think that's
we whizzed by. Yes,
absolutely. It's one of those calls where you can just keep going and going and going and going and that. But I think we're done, haven't we? Really? I think
we are. It's as easy as it, or as simple as it might sound. It really is a case of just kind of going out, and as basic as it might sound, it's just if you're struggling with anything, or feeling to be lacking a purpose, or feel you're chasing money in the work, just take a step back, kind of think about if you enjoyed as a child being outside in the countryside, then look into doing volunteering in the countryside. If you were, when you were young and you enjoyed cooking, have a look at doing some volunteering in the local soup kitchen. If you enjoyed reading books when you were younger, volunteer in a local bookstore. It's relatively easy, straightforward stuff, but especially if you're in a bit of a rut or struggling, something as simple as that can sound quite daunting and very hard. But just from my personal experience, it really does and really can help, and you never know what opportunities might come as a result of that.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Let me hit that record button. 1 second.